Hey, everyone. You are with Tom from Ludicrous Feed. Thank you so much for joining us on Ludicrous Feed Live this beautiful Wednesday night, 1st of November, 2023. Can you believe it's November already? Wow, where has the time gone, huh? Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us live, make sure you drop a comment. Tell us where you're watching from, what the temperature is like, I guess, in your part of the world. And if you're watching us on replay, make sure you drop a comment as well. If you're listening to us on podcast, thanks for joining us in the car or wherever you might be listening to us from. Let's say hello to a regular guest as always. Let's say hello to Riz from Carloop as well as Rahul as well. Hello, gentlemen. So nice to see you both. Riz, we'll start with you. How are you?
Yeah, going well, Tom. Good to be on. Good to see everyone here. Seems to be a lot going on. One of our charging suppliers we'll get on to. There's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yes. It made some news today, didn't it? We will certainly talk about that. Rahul, how are you doing this fine evening from Melbourne?
Tom, Riz, good evening and welcome to the live stream audience. I've been having fun with this little fella here. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. I've got two young kids. Trick or treating was definitely on the cards the last couple of days. Lots of lollies and lots of scary bits and pieces around the house. It's been a fun couple of days to start the week.
Excellent. Well, good to hear. And hopefully you had some good fun with the kids walking around the neighborhood, getting lots of sweets. And from one holiday to the next, I guess Christmas is not far away indeed. So, lots to talk about leading up to the run to the end of the year. So, before we do that, let's say hello to our sponsors and thank you for them supporting the channel. As always, we have Carloop, Warbox, and Evee. Thank you to those three companies. And if you want to get a discount code for Warbox or Evee, make sure you check out the video description for those nice discounts as well. So check them out. Gents, yes, so much to talk about. We alluded earlier to one of our, almost said the word, tritium, one of our charging companies from Australia in a bit of trouble at the moment. But we will touch on that very shortly. But before we do that, let's say hello to some of our members and regular guests on the show at the moment. So we have Gaffer's on. Hey, Gaffer, nice to see you. And we have Sensei on as well. Nice to see you there. And a bit of chatter I can see in the live stream about which car to get, by BYD Premium Seal or the Model 3 2024 refresh. I've got a little poll tonight. It's a question I've posed, which is which car would you like to see Tom, myself, buy for Ludicrous Feed? This is not really a question on which car you think is better. It's more on which car would you like to see me buy and review daily on the channel. So that's kind of the point of the point of the poll, rather than kind of a quality or which brand you prefer. But although I suppose that sort of lends to that as well a little bit. So make sure you vote in the poll. And I've got a third option, which is another EV. So get onto that. We have Jasper watching us from Catherine, Northern Territory. Very warm indeed up there. Hello there. And we have Robin Jules. Speaking of Robin Jules, I might actually put this picture up while we've got them on. And they very kindly sent me some pictures for their dolphin delivery this week. Let's have a look. So this is Robin Jules, our regular viewers, and there's the beautiful dolphin in Queensland, which they just picked up this week. Matching Jules's coat there, looking lovely. Is that pink color, Robin Jules? If you're watching, let us know. And look at that interior, pink everywhere, so good.
I think I might refer to that as champagne rosé.
Ooh, that's a quality comment, Rahul. I love it.
Yeah,
love it.
I love it.
Stunning. So congratulations, you two. That looks fantastic. An all BYD family now. Look at that.
Yeah, Tom, we were there, and the live stream viewers were watching on the night in SeaWorld when it was launched, and Robin Jules placed an order on it on that night. So here it is, after a few months later.
That's right. Not long indeed. It's so good. Let's see if I can scroll down to any comments from the guys. Not yet. I don't see any color. Hopefully they'll comment shortly what that is. But good to see. It's fantastic. So congratulations. And let's take some more comments. Thanks, Sensei. Just plugging the membership plans. If you can consider signing up, that'd be great to support the channel. It's hot and cold here in the Gong, Nashville, for Gaffer. Jez is here. Thank you, Jez, for joining us. And I want to thank Thomas Coates for being a member for 4 months. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And Brenton's saying, "G'day everyone. Tesla dropping prices of run-out models." Yes, that's true. Model 3 2023 for $58,000. What a steal. What a bargain. Chris is joining us. Hey, Chris from Gregory Hills. And we've got Rob from Torquay, Victoria. And Graham from Shepparton too. Hello there. And Praneeth from Adelaide. All over Australia today. Fantastic. And we've got Oscreamer from windy Canberra. Hello as well. Excellent. And Kangaroo Island says, "Christmas for me tomorrow. My new Polestar gets delivered." Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Yeah, let us know if you've got any cars getting delivered this week. Oh, Charles joins us from Perth. He's made it. Charles on Charge on Facebook. Have a look at his page on Facebook there. He's been documenting his journey across our continent, all the way from Tasmania, I guess, to Melbourne, and then across to Perth. How good is that? Well done. Excellent. And yes, here we go. Robin Jules is saying, yes, Jules loves pink and champagne rose. Oh, nice. Deserves a golf clap, definitely. Awesome. All right, let's move on with today's stories. Keep those comments coming. Love to hear from you. 100 guests already on the stream, so fantastic. All right, well, let's chat about the Tritium thing, gents. So this week, Tritium, unfortunately, has had some news. Their share price has dropped down to basically 15 cents, I think, or 18 US cents. It was as high as $10 back in early 2023. So it's dropped by a lot in the last few months. This is probably due to the fact that a lot of key backers have pulled out of Tritium, a lot of key shareholders. I suppose when there's smoke, there's fire. Something's going on, gents. Why would these key backers suddenly just remove themselves from the investment that is Tritium DCFC? Thoughts?
Ooh. So I guess we'll begin with saying none of this is financial advice.
Thank you.
We're not financially astute at all. That's why I've got a Cybertruck behind me. That's the best that I'm going to get for a while. But going to Tritium, yeah, it's a very, very interesting. I mean, I haven't looked too deeply into what's been commentated on, but just looking at it from the outside, they've obviously expanding big time in the US. And there's a lot of, I guess, factory expansions and other things needed to scale to provide charging infrastructure to US and other parts of the world. And it seems like everyone's a bit unsure about EVs at the moment. So anything to do with charging hardware supplies and others have taken a bit of a hit, but Tritium's taken, I guess, a big hit.
That's right. So my understanding is that when they floated, the company was worth about $2 billion US. And that was when the share price was pretty high, $10. Sometimes peak was $15 at one stage. There was an example in the financial review today. I read one investor who pulled. Well, his investment is now worth $1 million. I think it was something like 16 or something. So, or even 90 million. It was quite high when at the peak. And that was 8% of the Tritium, worth. So something is going on. A lot of investors are pulling out. And a bit concerned too. Thoughts on why they kept their Brisbane factory going? Maybe they should have just moved to the US and kept Australia as a research and development hub. Gents, we've all used Tritium in the past. It's probably the most used non-Tesla DC fast charger in Australia. And it's no secret that, it's a hit and miss game sometimes using their products.
Yeah, I think I'd quickly like to say you never wish bad on anyone in that EV space, and as a Tesla owner, I subscribe to Elon's methodology of like, hey, sustainability for everyone, EVs for everyone. You want to make it a globally sustainable world, and Tritium was on, sort of that trajectory. And unfortunately, I think scalability has probably been an issue for them. And I would compare some of their troubles to another company, I think, that has listened to feedback from clients, from customers, from their retailers, from their wholesalers, ChargeFox. Tom, Riz, we've had Rob from ChargeFox on here, and yeah, their response to what was some issues that were plaguing their charging infrastructure has been very, very different to what path Tritium has gone down, unfortunately. Despite the fact that they, listed on the US stock exchange, whether it's the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones, I'm not sure. But yeah, the fact that they're struggling for cash, they're asking the Queensland government for $90 million investment. Looks like they may not have cash to last through the year because their grants in the US are due to come back or due to come to them in January. That speaks obviously a lot for how much their stock has gone down, not just in terms of price, but I guess also in terms of trust and reliability issues. Yeah, sad to see, but I think something that we all kind of thought it was going to go down that way. But yeah, it's not a good look for Tritium.
Yeah, that's right. We'll explain, Rahul. And as Hal said, criticisms aside, a lot of Aussies will certainly lose their job if it does fold. It doesn't look very good for Tritium at the moment. As Rahul said, they have asked the Queensland government for $90 million bailout, which has been turned down, unfortunately. I mean, rightly or wrongly, Treverson Baker this week did say, if the company had to move overseas, it would be an indictment on government policy in Australia. I mean, you've also got to look at the governance of the company as well. You can't just say it's a government fault. It's not working. Now, what's happening behind the scenes, we don't know. It is a public company, so I guess if you want to dig into the details, it's probably available. As I said, a listing 2 years ago, 2021, Tritium's equity was $1.2 billion. So that's 2 billion Australian dollars. And yeah, I guess this will not bode well for, the backlog they've got to try and fill those backlogs, and also new customers wanting to sign with Tritium. I mean, they'll look at this and go, well, do we really want Tritium hardware, given that, there's a chance they might fold? That could be an issue with warranty moving forward too.
Yeah, and I think part of it also goes back to, I guess, what they did with their first generation Tritium V-fill chargers, stopped supporting them. Rahul, you've seen them close to your hub at the Merribeck Council. They were down for a while, and now they've been replaced by a SynXL unit that seems to be doing fairly well. So, the fact that they forgot about where they sort of began and didn't service their charges out here. Another thing that's actually quite unique is, the deal we spoke about last week with Tesla announcing that they will be supplying chargers to BP, and BP is one of the larger customers, global customers that Tritium has. So there's obviously a reason why BP wants to diversify as well. And that could also be, sending different signals to what the investors want to see. Because ideally, investor wants to see, a large company like BP continuing to have faith in Tritium, and then placing larger orders rather than diversifying their portfolio and saying, okay, we're actually going to go and buy some Tesla product as well, which was sort of a first for Tesla to do. So it's sort of a win-win situation from a Tesla charging point of view, particularly in the US, but then for the rest of the world, I guess, more hardware choice. And unless things change where we do get Tritium sort of servicing and providing parts and supporting installers and others around Australia, it won't really have a very good name moving forward.
Yeah, we'll touch on the supercharger deal very shortly with BP, but it's a concern as well for us EV drivers locally. If Tritium stops supporting their products, if whatever happens in the future, then we've got a whole bunch of Tritium chargers, which unfortunately are quite temperamental, as we all have found out as EV owners. But it does mean that moving forward, other companies can diversify, as you said. Chempower, something I covered last week in Melbourne. Tesla superchargers with BP. Lots of other companies coming to the fold, and hopefully we'll see more diversification as well. I wonder what this will hold for a local company like Evee Networks, who basically uses Tritium almost in its entirety for its network. So interesting times ahead. Let's take some comments really quickly. So we've got Matthew saying the Gold Coast Council Tritium charges are down more than they're up. Sad story, unfortunately. And Hal says they are listed on the NASDAQ. The entire EV space is being hammered. We'll touch on that as well. Some earnings from other OEMs are not so favorable for EVs at the moment. Another Aussie company, RFT, supplies 50 kilowatt modules to Tritium, so they'll be under financial stress as well. Yep, that's for sure. Gaffer says Chempower has a chance to prove themselves. That's correct. A lot of goodwill right now. They had better stay laser focused on maintaining that. Cool. Sensei, okay, cool. Thank you for being a member. I thought you were a member already, but thank you for being a member again, but much appreciated. And Kevin's with us again. Hey, Kevin from Lakeland, Florida. Nice of you to join us. Okay, cool. Let's move on to what we just touched on, which is, I'll put this one up. So yes, this is kind of breaking this week in that Tesla will be selling its hardware to third parties such as BP. So they're going to buy $100 million of Tesla superchargers parts, I would think. And yeah, I guess in short, we might be seeing in North America as early as 2024 Tesla superchargers being installed across the BP Pulse network, not necessarily in the form of the superchargers red and white that you might be used to, but it might be rebranded with the BP Pulse livery over the top. Gents, I think this will be fantastic for North American EV owners. We know Tesla superchargers are probably the most reliable chargers, DC fast chargers in the world right now. Imagine being able to use this at BP.
Yeah, I think that obviously with Tesla superchargers being, as you said, Tom, very reliable, definitely have a pulse in them, and with BP pulse signage on them, it's going to be pulsating even harder. So I reckon there'll be plenty of them going around. And hopefully we see some of this stuff here in Australia.
Yeah, that's right. And it's good too, because, I wonder whether you could precondition your battery if you had a Tesla, knowing that there's a Tesla hardware at the nearest BP. So that could open up things like that too.
I think it would, because what the deals noted is that these chargers will be appearing in Tesla's in-car mapping system. So you would think it would treat it no differently to a Tesla supercharger as it is right now. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how this sort of pans out when these chargers start to roll out in the coming years.
Yep. And the V4, so they're hopefully tap and go with credit card facilities too. So hopefully coming to Australia not long after a North American launch next year. That's good.
Yeah, just quickly, Tom and Riz, BP obviously got a massive brand, massive footprint in Australia and in North America as well. So yeah, partnership with Tesla just means that Tesla makes obviously a business case sense for that, partnering with BP, but also the reliability of Tesla chargers, uptime at about 99% or so. Just means that more people have access to EV chargers, considering some of the problems that Electrify America, which is the next big EV charging infrastructure company that has had issues with, again, reliability. A win-win for Tesla, for BP, and for EV owners.
Yep, that's right. Why wouldn't you pick the most reliable network, eh? Makes sense to me. Let's take a comment from Jez, who's gifted $5. Thanks very much, Jez. Tom, read the poll. Yes, I've got a poll running tonight, everyone, so make sure you select one of the options. Which car would you like to see me buy for Ludicrous Feed? A BYD Seal Premium, or a Model 3 rear-wheel drive, or another EV? And looks like Jez wants me to buy the Aston Martin Valhalla Hybrid, costing $2 million or $1 or $2 million, but we'll do wonders for Ludicrous Feed channel. Riz gets first drive. Rahul gets second drive. Maybe I should crowdfund it, hey? $2 million. Yeah. Chump change for some of you guys, I'm sure. Sensei has gifted a Ludicrous Feed membership. Thank you very much, Sensei, being generous tonight. I see Edward Ting is the beneficiary, so thank you, Sensei. Welcome, Edward. And Peter's saying Tritium didn't manufacture much. Okay. Pulling parts from everywhere, maybe. And Jason's saying, I'm happy to see Tesla sell their chargers to other businesses. Me too. Proven technology, and would see quicker rollouts as well. And they've got that remote cabinet system too that Chempower was talking about in my video, where you've got a central cabinet supplying satellite units, which is what obviously Tesla superchargers work on. So you've got that shared power system too, more reliable as well, more modular. And Dan says, yes, superchargers at BPs just off the highway. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? There are BPs everywhere too. Maybe Tesla should buy out Tritium. Would they want to? I don't know. I suppose the share price is good at the moment. Model 3 refresh charging specs allude to future 375 kilowatt charging on V4. Okay.
That's interesting. Now,
Hmm.
Hal obviously knows something I don't just yet. That's pretty cool if that's true.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive on 400 volts too, unless they've increased the voltage on the new cars. Not sure. Oh, Sensei's gifted another one. Hey, thank you. Who's it this time? Let's see. Bulldogs 2004. Welcome, Bulldogs 2004, and thank you, Sensei. Matthew's saying, we need a precondition button on the screen for Tesla. That would be good, yes, because currently the third-party DC fast chargers, tritium included, cannot be preconditioned for Tesla. I'd like to see all EVs with a precondition button, to be honest with you, not just Tesla. That would be good. Gaffer's saying, I had a chance to watch the BP Pulse chargers in Fairy Meadow for about an hour. I was wondering if BP got any use for them. They were 100% in use with 5 to 6 EVs over that time. Popular. That's good. Very good. Good rollout too, Riz, I believe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Roll.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Tom. I was just going to say quickly, I think one of my, correct me if I'm wrong, the chargers at Pheasant's Nest, are they BP or they're Ampol?
Ampol.
That's Ampol.
Yeah.
Ampol.
But another company, I thought they were one of the best charging locations I've seen. But I think BP's also got some plans to sort of introduce a charging infrastructure along those lines. So obviously shade, solar panels, 350 kilowatt charging plus AC charging as well, with cafes, restaurants, coffees, whatever. Which and again, I've said this just before, but they've already got that footprint. So imagine that. And yeah, in a world where we have EVs all over the place, having that kind of infrastructure is just going to be amazing to have.
Yeah, that's right. We need more ground-up EV stations like they have in the UK and overseas too. It would look fantastic over here. Anthony J, I'll just answer this one. Any further news on the Tesla plug becoming the standard? I suppose the CCS. Do you mean the North American standard? That's only in North America. We still have CCS here, just to clarify for everyone. And another Ludicrous Feed membership from Sensei. Who is it this time? It's Matthew Russell. Thank you, Sensei. Congratulations, Matthew. Welcome aboard. Yep, cool. And Peter,
Business come early for some of these people.
That's right. Tesla NACS makes no sense in three-phase countries, correct? Only worthwhile North America, Japan, and Korea. There you go. Well explained. Speaking of Tesla, we'll just keep going for now. We've got another Tesla supercharger opening up in Victoria, the Como Centre, 299 Toorak Road, South Yarra. Gents, that seems like a pretty posh part of your world.
Yeah, I just live east of that, in also known as Dandenong. So yeah, Toorak East. Toorak is where this is going to be, off Toorak Road in South Yarra, not far from the original Richmond supercharger site, which is also the Tesla's used to be the Richmond delivery center. So yeah, very cool. 6 of them there, and obviously a lot of people are slightly confused as to why so many charging sites are opening up in Melbourne's east when there's a lot of Tesla owners out in the west side. But I guess there's a lot more apartments in that part of town as well.
Yeah, as an outsider coming into Melbourne occasionally, I'm happy to see this because 4 at Richmond is just not good enough for an interstate visitor. It's just crazy, really. You need more chargers in the center of Melbourne, so I'm happy. I'm going to answer this question for SWS. Question for us newbies. Can you explain what preconditioning means? Okay, so Tesla superchargers can be preconditioned from your Tesla. So if you say want to go to your next stop as a supercharger, plug it into the nav, and the car will start to warm the battery up. It'll what's the word? It will load the battery or load the motors. Not really load the motors. It sort of loads the battery, heats it up. That way, when you get to a supercharger, it'll basically be warm enough, 55 degrees Celsius plus, and you can just charge at a higher rate than otherwise you would have been able to if the battery was cold, which is really good technology, and it should be able to get you a faster rate and get you out of there quicker. So really good, really smart. Yeah, Jez says lol east of that. Very east of that, isn't it, Riz?
Yeah,
In
it's
reality.
about 30 k's, 35 k's east of that, but it's
Hey.
still east.
It's still east, exactly.
Just quickly, gents, besides Richmond, we now actually have, I think, 4 chargers at the Hive in Abbotsford as well, which is very close to Richmond. So, yeah, I guess between Richmond, between Abbotsford, and then the Como Centre as well. And then I think there's some Tesla chargers in Brighton, Riz. Along that route, you've actually got a fair few chargers now as well, which is fantastic news.
Now, we touched on this earlier, and yes, some other things are getting hammered on the stocks, well, in terms of renewables and EVs at the moment. So I might touch on this trio of stories just really quickly. And this is, so Ford earnings just came out. The EV unit lost $1.3 billion in Q3. And then Mercedes-Benz is also leaning on ICE sales to holster earnings as brutal EV sector squeezes margins. And then this is the last of the 3. Hertz slows down EV plans as Tesla price cuts repair costs, affecting profits. So a few automakers there reporting losses in their EV sectors.
Yeah, it's I think that's part of what's driving a lot of sentiment on the stock exchange for companies like Tritium as well. It's a bit of doubt as to are the EVs going to stall for a bit of time. I don't see that happening in Australia with some of the manufacturers that we have, such as BYD, MG, and Tesla, of course, and a lot more coming in as well. So, yeah, the US has an issue around EV demand. Europe has an issue around the fact that the local manufacturers like Mercedes and Volkswagen and BMW, Audi, they're producing EVs that people don't really want. They're the sort of last generation cars, where Tesla is obviously making cars in Berlin now and exporting out of China as well into Europe. So yeah, it's going to be very hard for a lot of these companies to scale up, show profitability in their EV businesses if they scale back production now. It's such an early time in the race.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point, Riz. I mean, are these companies trying hard enough? It's like making a subpar product and going, look, it's not selling, therefore EVs don't work. As you said, you've got brands like Tesla, BYD actually all in, Polestar all in on EVs. And they're selling cars, right? And Tesla obviously regularly reports profits, as does BYD. So, yeah, I mean, we need to see a paradigm shift with these OEMs. Like, they really need to be all in and take this game actually seriously. Yep. Interesting, though. I'll move to this one, which is Hertz. So Hertz is now not, well, they're saying that they're probably not going to reach that 100,000 Tesla EVs that they pledged to, or probably 12 months ago for their fleet. And now they've got about 35,000 vehicles in the fleet. They've got their CEO saying, well, it's kind of not as quickly as we thought because repairs are an issue. It's costing a lot of money to repair, particularly with Teslas. So that's quite surprising, really.
Yeah, especially the fact that, drivetrain is pretty solid on a Tesla. The battery pack is generally pretty good. So these cars couldn't have driven, long distances. I would be very surprised if any of those cars are over 150,000 miles or something like that in under a year and a bit. So, maybe it's a Tesla bumper and parts supply issue. And if it is, that can be resolved without telling investors that, it's an issue with parts supply. Given you'd like to think they're generally buying the same type of Tesla in bulk. So yeah, if they're going to struggle with this, it'd be very hard when they have a huge fleet of various different manufacturers with different EVs that they're trying to source parts from. So yeah, it's a bit concerning on that front, but this is just the sentiment. I think it's a lot of these executives are coming under pressure because in this lower economic times where people are not spending as much on holidays and renting cars or spending as much on luxury items such as Mercedes electric cars, CEOs have got to come up with an excuse to their investors. And the easiest one is, well, EVs aren't working. So Yeah.
What's curious is that he went on to say, as Hertz purchases more EVs from GM and other automakers, it expects those vehicles to have a lower incidence of damage and lower costs of parts and labor. I mean, this is just speculation. It expects those vehicles, so he's thinking Tesla's the problem.
Well, the other issue is he clearly hasn't been seeing this UAW strike in the US, where they've secured a 25% wage increase, all the workers that are working for car makers such as GM, Ford, and Stellantis. That 25% has to come from somewhere, and it will be the likes of Hertz that are paying for that, including labor and other things once things do start to break down. So it can't clearly just be Tesla, but yeah, I think it looks like a good excuse for shareholders to buy into, and they can, I guess, make record bonuses on the back of the fact that EVs are not working.
Yep, certainly is low-hanging fruit at the moment to blame EVs. So anyway, we shall see what happens, whether it translates over to Australia as well. Interesting. Let's take some comments. We've got, Jason. Didn't Toyota say they're moving away from EVs? Yeah, we covered that last week, didn't we? Unfortunately. Actually, I wanted to quickly say that Sensei gifted another membership. Thank you. And also Jez as well. Jez has gifted a membership. It's contagious. So thank you, Jez, for being so generous as well. We've got Felipioli gifted by Jez. Thank you. Peter's saying Como Center is $15 just to get through the gate, gents. That's quite steep for parking. Yep, Gaffer's saying Bateman's Bay Tesla Supercharger is going in. Good. And yes, Matthew Sparks says, love the poll. Just joined. Go the seal. Do it. Okay. That's leading the votes at the moment. 52% of you are saying I should buy the seal over the Tesla Model 3 refresh, which is coming in at 37%. 11% are saying get another EV. That's out of 114 votes. So that's pretty good sample size. Keep those votes coming. Riz, last week you mentioned something about an event at Mulgrave on the 11th. Any word on what might be happening there?
Still haven't heard too much more since then, but what I did hear, and I haven't seen it on Tesla's official events yet, so please don't rock up expecting something to be there. It was just someone mentioned it that they were planning a bit of a EV open day in Mulgrave, but I haven't heard anything more. So yeah, if I do hear something in the next week or so, I'll sort of let everyone know. But yeah, as long as we haven't heard anything more on the Highland launch. What I have seen though is Singapore's got showcase already, so it's getting closer to us. But I don't know how far our cars are for people to be able to go and sit in and have a bit of a play.
Yeah, that's right. December is coming very soon, isn't it? We've only got 30 more days left, and then delivery supposedly in January, so yeah, very early next year. We'll keep an eye out anyway. Oscreamer makes a good point. Maybe Hertz has an issue with people never having driven an EV and driving into walls, causing repair bills. I mean, it's a good point. How much education do these people actually get when they hire a Tesla or whatever it is for the first time from a company like Hertz? You don't get as nice a handover as you would, say, from Turo or even EV locally here, where the owner's telling you what the car's like. That's a good point. It's not a traditional car. You've got to learn a little bit as you step into an EV. So, yeah. Rob says, am I mistaken, or is the next round of Tesla Supercharger voting up? Your Dura is leading the AU voting so far. Yep. Yeah, I might get Charles on the stream in a couple of weeks. We'll explain his strategy to try and sort of vote en bloc. That'd be good. Kangaroo Island says, Hertz needs to offer more EV options. On Kangaroo Island, the Hertz branch has 2 Polestars. Yep. Probably just more in general, isn't it? Not just Kangaroo Island. We need more EVs around. Yeah, Hal says, if we have another interest rate rise on Tuesday, how many will delay their EV purchase? Finance rates will average 7 to 9%. It's not good. Yeah. Is that recession coming, gents?
Remains to be seen. But I think that kind of like leads me into that next segue that I think in the next couple of years or in the next 18 months, there'll be a whole batch of EVs coming on the market. Tesla Model 3s coming on the market from fleets that are going to upgrade their cars. So the price of secondhand cars will actually come down in the next 18 months. I guess if the rate does go up on Tuesday, you will have a percentage of people who will hold back on those purchases. But I think in general, this points to a healthy market once we get that secondhand market rolling. Obviously, it exists in Europe, exists in the UK, exists in the US. I think we're just on the cusp of that secondhand EV market, which is just going to make sure that those prices just stay at a really sort of, base level where you don't have a lot of ups and downs in the pricing where it's just going to shock or surprise you.
Yeah. Are you referencing this article, Rahul, from The Driven? Want a second-hand EV? Hold up till
Correct.
2025.
Correct.
I wonder, is that because a lot of people are leasing their cars at the moment or have loans that might possibly expire in the next 3 years, or whether they pay the balloon out or sell it again, then you might get a lot of secondhand EVs on the market. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. Can you wait 3 years? Or 2 years? That's the issue. Yeah. And let's move on to this story here just quickly. So this is California Governor Gavin Newsom visiting Tesla's Gigafactory in Shanghai. He's saying the working model of Tesla Gigafactory Shanghai has benefited both China and the US, and he's optimistic about full self-driving or self-driving cars in the future. That's a good endorsement there from the governor of California. There he is there visiting the Gigafactory China. Look at that collaboration between someone from the US and someone from China. It can happen.
Amazing. I have no idea about this, whether this will happen or not, but from what I can think of, California obviously being the world's 6th largest economy, if you can put your heads around that, amazing to sort of even think about that. But Gavin being the governor may eventually make a presidential bid for the next presidential election, is what I'm hearing. So imagine a president of US who is extremely friendly to China, has already visited China, is very progressive, has been the state in the US that very, very open to having EVs. That's a massive win for EVs and for the US in general.
Yep, good point. Absolutely.
And that's a pretty cool photo there. So you have a Model 3 Highland built in Shanghai where he is. You have the Model X in ultra red from Fremont, California. And I'm assuming the Model Y was built there as well in Shanghai. So really cool to see that, the US cars are making their way to China, and the Chinese, vehicles are obviously being exported pretty much everywhere.
Very good to see. Good collaboration. Now I'm going to put this comment up here from Ben saying, I count 15 current Model 3s in Tesla New South Wales inventory, and these appear to be equivalent to the ones showing the Brisbane Gold Coast list as well. And this indicates that Tesla have broken their previous rule, which was to restrict inventory cars to the state they were assigned to, i.e. to avoid interstate transportation costs, which is fair enough. Now, Ben did tag me on X this week saying that he actually reached out to Tesla to ask them to do this. So great work, Ben, influencing Tesla's decision here. But because I have asked Tesla in the past, because I had an eye on a car interstate, and they said, no, it's limited to each state. So interesting, now that we've got cars accessible from all parts of Australia. It's good. Maybe they're desperate to get rid of old stock. Nice. Comment from SWS. In 3 years' time, there'll be a newer model out in reference to buying a used car in 2025. Yeah, that's true, but some people are happy to compromise and get an older vehicle for less money. That's why there's a used car market, I guess. Okay. Oh, Adam Peck, I just sold my ex-lease EV. There you go. There's a used car on the market. Used EV. Okay. When buying a secondhand EV, Jerry says, is there a way to get an independent report on the condition of the vehicle for the buyer? Yes, you can use a service like Redbook. You can just do an inspection for you. I had Redbook look at my vehicle virtually for my buyer when I sold my Model 3. It wasn't that thorough, I gotta say. They sort of made sure the car was there. They opened the frunk, had a good laugh about that. Nothing in there. But yeah, they can't check on the condition of the battery. It's just more of an inspection rather than a full report. Yep. Where was it? Riz, you shared something about Mulgrave, I think. That's some information.
Yeah, so that event actually is up. So for those that are interested, it's on the 11th. They call it the open day.
There you go. Mulgrave, Victoria, for those who are keen. 11 o'clock to 3 p.m. on the 11th, which is, what's that? Probably 2 weekends time?
Yeah, not this coming weekend, the following weekend.
Cool. Just staying with Tesla, TeslaScope is reporting that the all-new redesigned Tesla Model 3 has been detected on their platform and can confirm that they have autopilot hardware 4 on board. Okay, there you go. What does that actually mean? Here we go. Hardware means onboard computer and cameras. Okay. Is that more for full self-driving, gents? Hardware 4?
Yeah, that's what the general gist was.
Yeah.
Yep. So it probably won't affect your day-to-day driving too much. Maybe high-resolution cameras for Sentry Mode dash cam. That's handy. Staying with Victoria, here we go. Victoria paves the way for heavy-duty electric trucks with permanent axle weight concessions. Okay, so they've increased the width of the truck from 2.5 to 2.55. Sadly, I think Tesla Semi is 2.6, but they've increased the weight of the vehicle for electric trucks to operate with a 7.5 ton weight on the steer axle. It's a concession for electric vehicles, obviously with the big powertrain, big battery. Might pave the way for more electric trucks like the Volvo, I think. Volvo truck could come in for Victoria. It's good. Let's have a look. News from the US. The Equinox EV. GM has launched the Equinox EV in the US. Prices range from $34,995 to $52,395 range of 319 miles, which is what, 500 kilometers?
That's pretty cool. I think the Hertz CEO said that these things cost the smell of an oily rag to basically service when they do get them on their fleet, compared to a Tesla, which I think costs Elon Musk's entire net worth to service. So yeah, good to see. Hopefully they can produce them and get them to Hertz as quickly as possible before they start hurting.
Yes, so this is a GM car, size of a Model Y, maybe a bit smaller.
A bit smaller.
Yeah. Looks good, I guess.
Looks good, and I think the pricing is affordable as well, which is, what you need, right, to get those people who are kind of like on the on the edge of looking at buying something. With a trusted brand as well. That would appeal to a large segment of US buyers looking at buying an EV for the first time.
Now the question is this one of those serious EVs or just the not so serious EVs that GM will one day go, no, they're not selling? Hard to know. But look, the specs are good. 319 miles for the top spec, 250 miles, which is, I think 400 kilometers is acceptable this day and age for an EV. Adaptive cruise control, wireless charging, 150 kilowatt DC fast charging is acceptable as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Let's take some comments. Sensei has gifted away again. Thank you, Sensei. Who's next on your gift list there? Lost track. Gene. Thanks, Gene. Oh, thank you, Sensei. Welcome, Gene. Now, Chris is asking, is there such a thing as a Tesla Model 3 MY 23.5? And what's different to 23, if anything? I've not seen a 23.5.
No.
Sorry.
There isn't. I don't think there is any, because there weren't any hardware changes in 2023 apart from the Highland, which is coming next year. So traditional manufacturers often do this, where if the car is produced after June, they call it 23.5 because there's some sort of an upgrade. But yeah, in Tesla vehicles, you get software updates every 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so. So there's always a 23 point something, but it's no real hardware changes from what I can gather.
Yep, good point. And I just want to say hello to who have we got here? Richard. Richard Laxton's been doing a trip as well across WA, showing us some awesome Kempower chargers on the WA EV network. So welcome, Richard, to the stream. He's watching from Perth, WA today. In time for the AEVA Expo, Riz, this weekend, which you're attending, I believe.
It is. So I'm flying from Toorak East on my private jet plane tomorrow morning. Land in Perth, have breakfast with Gina Reinhardt before making my way to see Richard Laxton and Charles over there. So if anyone's in Perth this weekend, on Saturday in particular at the expo, come and say hi.
Yeah, we don't call you Hollywood Riz for nothing, Riz. So yeah, go and see
No,
Riz at the AEVA Expo if you're around.
That's right. And then I think I'm on a boat with Twiggy Forrest afterwards in the Pilbara.
I think you should try and get them to bail out Tritium if you can, maybe that weekend. That's your job,
think
okay?
that's the plan if we can finalize the deal on the solar cable to Singapore. So once
Sun
all
power.
of that stuff is sorted, then we'll look at tritium.
That's right. Lots to do in Perth. Speaking of sponsors, I want to thank our sponsors at the 47-minute mark. Thank you, Warbox. Thank you, Evee. Thank you, Carloop. Check out the video description for some nice discount codes for Ludicrous Feed viewers. Thank you, everyone. And let's take some more comments real quick. We have Carl H. I had a Holden Equinox. It was good quality and great performance in its class, but very boring. That's a shame. They don't make Holdens anymore, do they? No good. All right, let's keep going with, speaking of Kempower, let's have a look at this. Oh, that's not it. This one. So this is Gary. Gary's been on the stream before, and yeah, showing us, this is in South Australia, I believe, the RAA network is EV6 charging at a Kempower charger on the RAA network. It's getting 69%, 37 kilowatts. Great video. And you see how there's like 800 volt setting and a 400 volt setting. So it can look after 800 volt cars like the Kia EV6 and Hyundai Ioniq 5 and 6.2, which is very, very cool. And there's the switchboard there in the power cabinet. Very cool. Yeah, nice. Thanks for sharing that, Gary. Appreciate it. And what else have we got? Yep, Team Sky. I really wish BYD would release a BYD Seal with the same hatch style opening like a Model Y, like a BYD Seal Model Y. I would buy that. I believe there's a Seal U possibly coming soon next year. So that could be the answer to your question there, Team Sky. Speaking of BYD, make sure you vote in tonight's poll. It's getting closer. BYD Seal, which car should I buy for the Ludicrous Feed channel? 2024 BYD Seal Premium, or the 2024 Model 3 rear-wheel drive refresh. I've got an order for both cars. I'm only going to keep one. 49% of you are saying Premium Seal. 39% of you are saying Model 3 rear-wheel drive. And 12% of you are saying another EV. So get voting before time is up. Hal is saying my vote is for Australia's cheapest EV, the Ace Urban. Apparently there are 7 in stock and from 35,995. Now, is the Ace Urban is that the little, no, that's the YEWT. Is that the van, the Ace Urban? There's a few of them.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's food for thought. Matthew's saying, hopefully RAA install more Kempower on the Adelaide to Melbourne route. It is very tritium dominated. Ooh, yes. Yeah. Risky times. Get those Kempowers in there. Okay, so now I'm going to share this real quick. So this is launched this week, I think, the deal between Uber, Sixt, and BYD. We sort of touched on this, didn't we, Riz? I think, or did we touch on it last Wednesday, gents? Sixt Australia announced a new partnership with Uber in Australia, allowing them to subscribe to an EV for as little as $339 per month. And TechAU's broken this down to approximately $78 per week to hire a BYD Atto 3, which is bloody cheap, I'm sorry to say, especially if you're going to use that to drive an Uber.
Yeah, ridiculously cheap. I think that includes rego and insurance as well. So yeah, for $78 a week, what a great deal.
Mm. And Riz, you've driven Ubers in past life. That's pretty good, right? For an Uber driver.
That is a good. Yeah, that's pretty good in terms of. I think a lot of the drivers that do rent cars pay anywhere between $250 to $400 a week for their Camry hybrids if they're hired off legitimate and some not so legitimate companies. So going through Sixt to get some of these vehicles for $80 or $90 a week is, I mean, that's how much it costs to rent per day, right? Their deal for everyday consumers is $90 a day. So that's pretty good. It'd be interesting to see the numbers off the back of that, how many Uber drivers or how many people actually took this deal up. So yeah, pretty cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So good work there. If you're considering driving an Uber, an EV might be the way to go through the Sixt deal. We've got so Sensei has gifted another membership to Chris Wood. Welcome, Chris. And thank you, Sensei. Other Chinese brands coming to Australia in 2024? Not that we know of. I wouldn't mind seeing them here.
Yeah.
But we're hoping BYD will be bringing more cars like the Seal U, which is the sort of fastback Seal, and fingers crossed for the Seagull. That'd be good. Rival the Fiat.
Yeah, the little Fiat. Yeah,
probably cheaper too.
Actually, speaking of small cars, bit of a, I guess it's not a public service announcement, but Mini Electric at the moment has $10,000 off starting today. So you can buy, I'm not saying it's a car with a huge amount of range. It has a small battery, but it's got a drive-away price of $49,995. That's like over $10,000 off what they were charging 5 days ago or something. Because from starting today till the end of December, which is a pretty cool sort of city runaround electric car, very funky, very stylish. So yeah, started today. So 50 grand for a Mini.
And that's kind of on par with the Dolphin Premium, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more expensive. But
yeah, slightly more expensive, but it's obviously, used to be around 60 odd grand. But the main reason they're doing this is there's a run out. So they will be, I think, getting a 2024 model in. But that's probably going to be $65,000+. So yeah, if nothing else, feel free to check one out at your local Mini dealer.
Yeah, that's right. And arguably, I guess Mini's got the more established reputation compared to BYD. So if you want a Mini, yeah, it's not a bad price, under 50. Question for me: what is your opinion on the BYD Dolphin? Yeah, I've asked BYD to have a press car loan, so as soon as I get one, we'll get it out to you. But otherwise, Robin Jules is in the chat, so maybe you can ask them. They'll tell you. Did anyone in the chat get picked up by Riz in his Uber car before he became Insta famous and Hollywood Riz? Anyone? I have, but that was after he became famous already. So doesn't help.
Funnily enough, there was one famous person that was more famous than I was back then that I did end up accidentally picking up, and that was Pete Hellier from the project. And for anyone that's interested, he has no hair, so what you see is a clear toupee. And he's a big Collingwood supporter, so he wasn't happy because on the night I picked him up, Collingwood had lost. So that was the closest I got to picking up a celebrity until I obviously picked up Tom in the Mercedes EQE recently.
I don't know if I can beat Peter Hellier. He's pretty famous. Hope you made his day anyway. I was going to put this up for Ray. Have I seen this? Pepper Money's got a deal. Let's just have a quick look at this. Again, not financial advice, just showing this real quick. Get up to 12 months EV charging on us with Evee Networks, 2,000 kilowatt hours over 12 months. That's pretty good considering full Model Y is 60 kilowatt hours, so that's not bad. That's like 30 top ups, I think. Quick maths. Is that right? Yeah, maybe. So one every couple of weeks. That's not bad. Geely has expressed an interest in Australia, Kangaroo Island. Geely is the parent company of Polestar and Volvo.
Yeah, what would be interesting is if Zeekr makes it into Australia, which is one of their other brands. That's, I think, Volvo EX30 and the Polestar 4, a couple of those cars are based on that same Geely platform. And if Geely does, then will they bring their Radar Ute brand into Australia? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, watch your space. Thanks, Sensei. Yes, thank you for your gifts tonight. And he's asking people to become members. Please consider. Yes, I've been also dropping my videos early too to members. Some of you may have noticed. So if you want early access to my vids, go ahead and become a member. So Abby's saying that they went with Pepper Money and got 1 year worth of free charging on the Evee network. Great. Kangaroo Island saying I'd like to see more Stellantis cars like the Jeep and the Citroen. And Robin Jules loves the Dolphin. Good.
Yeah.
And Ray saying that's like $1,800 in fuel for the Pepper Money deal. That's good. Jerry saying seems like BYD are pushing very hard to get the Ute into Australia ASAP. Yep. Gents, I just want to quickly talk about this. This has been making the news, or at least social media this week. So the off-grid EV charger that NRMA has got showcased there. Whereas this is in on the Stewart Highway in South Australia, I think. Either South Australia or Northern Territory. So this is a hybrid system. It's got a battery, it's got solar obviously on the roof, and it's got a diesel generator as well. So the point of the diesel generator is to basically provide backup when the sun is not shining enough, the battery's got not enough charge in it, then the diesel kicks in. Now, this has been making rounds on social media this week. People are saying, look, this EV charging station is cheating. It's running off diesel. Gents, I'd personally like to see some real stats on this, obviously, after a while. This has been up, to see how much the diesel actually kicks in, how much is actually powered by solar batteries, how much of the time is diesel running. But, I don't mind this because, if you want off-grid to work, then you got to have backup. And diesel's the way to go in some parts of Australia.
It's very common for industrial systems to have a backup diesel generator, a backup gas generator. A lot of the hospitals have similar sort of situations if power does cut out. Data centers now equip batteries. They used to have gas or diesel fired backup generators. So it is, when you're in the middle of nowhere, that's what you sort of need to do. But yeah, you're right, Tom. It'd be interesting to see the stats. Hopefully NRMA is more transparent on that.
Yes, thanks, Jasper. It's in the Northern Territory. Turn off to Uluru. Thank you.
Yeah, I think my take on that, Tom and Riz, is you got to look at the bigger picture. Yep, there is a backup diesel generator, but the amount of EV cars that would charge up, that would then go out on the road, minus zero tailpipe emissions. Much better for the environment, which means you can see that sunset in that background there, which is a magnificent sunset there, completely clearly without having any emissions inhibiting that magical sunset there. So yeah, small wins. Look at the bigger picture, I guess. Yeah,
that's right. A charger that's powered by diesel some of the time is better than powered by all the time. I mean, having some solar and battery there is a good thing. Now, there is a reference back to another article in The Driven written by Brady as well. An engineer did the maths, and it's still more efficient to charge a EV using even a diesel-generated charging station than it is just to be powering an equivalent petrol car or diesel car with the same amount of diesel for an equivalent car. So, yeah, so that's being tested and verified. So there we go. Cool. Yeah, Scotty's confirming backup is only when battery and solar aren't able to provide the power. And Mark makes a good point. The diesel generator needs to be exercised and fuel replacement even when not in use. Yep, that's what the backup is for. And Gaffer makes a great point. I hate it when people complain that it's not 100%, then it's a fail. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. That remote charger is a great solution. I couldn't agree more. It's a great fail-safe, 100%. Yes, and am I using tritium? I'll just go back to the picture. Yes, that's probably the worst thing about this charger, not the diesel. That's what we've got to be concerned about. Correct, Jasper. Yep. Thanks, Sensei. Another gift. Let's see who you've got this time. We've got H2 Rider. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Well done. Cool. Let's keep going. Last few stories. Riz, you want to talk about this one? This is the Cybertruck towing Model Y ahead of its first deliveries in the US.
How cool is that? Everything in the US is big. That trailer is big. A whole Model Y, and I think it appears to be a bit of a tool. I don't know, like a toolbox or something in front of the Model Y.
Oh yes,
it's pretty cool to see, and doesn't look like the Cybertruck is limping in that photo, but really cool to see. Only less than 4 weeks. Well, sorry, 4 weeks from now, just over that, we'll get our Cybertruck first delivery event. So we'd like to see more of these towing sort of applications. The expected tow rating is 7,000 pounds up to 14,000 pounds, which is up to 6.3 ton for the tri-motor. That's what the expected rating is. But yeah, really cool to see.
Yeah, that's pretty good payload there. What'd you say? It's 14,000 pounds.
14,000 pounds. And it's, I think the single motor, originally they claimed it was going to have around 3.5 ton of towing. For comparison, Model X is, I think, rated at 2.3 ton.
Yeah, that's a decent size payload there. It's good. Got a new member, Kangaroo Island TV. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. And just finally, I'll just share this one. Sam tagged me this week on X. BYD seal spotted in Chiang Mai in Thailand. There it is there, looking very nice. See that very soon on our streets here in Australia as well.
See that very soon in your 14-car Jez supported garage, Tom.
That's right. All the colours of the rainbow. Cool. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. Cool. All right. I was going to talk about this article, but I might leave this for Saturday, which is in the UK, MPs are agreeing to new rules around EV charging so that charge operators have to be more transparent with their pricing too. So that's just a quick note. So thank you for the person who sent me that link. Thank you. We've got people asking about the EV uptake for October, Riz. You'll have those stats for us next week, I presume?
I will, and I think Nick in the chat, no, you didn't miss that. I did do the numbers. It's 10%.
Whoa.
So not 8%, it's 10% without utes and commercial vehicles. So this is
10%?
heavy commercial, yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic. That's the first time we've broken 10%, haven't we?
Yeah, it's 10%, obviously, not in the official way. The official way is all the vehicles that are sold, including utes and all of that. So it's still around 8% for that. But if you exclude the utes and some of those other heavy commercial vehicles that are part of the VFACT stats, then yeah, it's 10%. I'm hoping that just as an overall number would be hitting 10% by December. Which would mean around 12 or 13% if you take the utes and other commercial vehicles out of it. So EV uptake in Australia is looking pretty good.
Nice. Might have to tell Ford and GM and Mercedes overseas that we're doing all right here.
Well, just whatever you do, don't tell Hertz. Because
don't tell Hertz.
EVs are not...
No, they can't be done according to Hertz. But now 10% is fantastic. Thanks, Riz. Before I finish, I just want to quickly talk about this. Brenton's asking how much is Gold Coast to Melbourne using superchargers. I'm just looking at my stats right now for a Model Y. Sydney to the Gold Coast, if you just use superchargers, is $136 at the back in, when did I go? June, I think, June, July. So if you add the Melbourne trip, probably another $100. So $250, let's just say. I think you'd be saving a lot of money compared to paying $2.20 at the pump at the moment. So it's good. And I'm sure people do run entirely off their solar system to charge their EVs. If you've got products like Wallbox or Charge HQ, even software based. So yes, it can be done for sure. All right, gents. That's about it really for tonight. So great. Thanks so much once again to Riz from Carloop. Thank you.
Hey, Tom. Awesome show. Thanks, everyone, for bringing all your insights and, helping each other out. Obviously, we had Santa's come early with Santa Sensei, handing out memberships left, right, and center. Thanks, everyone, for all your support.
Thanks, Riz. And thank you, Rahul, as always, for joining us on Wednesday.
You're most welcome, Tom and Riz. One last thing I just quickly wanted to add is congratulations to Bateman's Bay and Mansfield in Victoria for the supercharging voting of this quarter, the winners. The next round of voting is open. So if you've got a Tesla account, go log in and you can nominate up to 5 sites. And then you can also add additional sites that you think may benefit from supercharging locations in that area as well.
That's right. Your vote counts as always. So yeah, go ahead and vote. And we'll get Charles as always. Charles Gregory is our charging expert. We'll get him on in a couple of weeks' time when he returns from Perth. And we can maybe do a bit of a strategy and try and get some key sites voted in for the next round. So thank you very much, everyone. And we're back on Saturday, Riz and myself, doing Saturday morning live as always. So we'll chat more then. Riz will be chatting to us from Perth. He's committed. He wants to come on early Perth time and join me in Sydney. What a man!
Look, if I don't have a bender with Andrew Forrest in terms of on the yacht the night before, then I'll definitely be joining in on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Make sure he behaves himself, Riz. You know what to do. We'll finish the poll and let's see. The results were. I've lost it now, but I think it was 50%. Yes, we go. My question tonight was, which car would you like to see Tom, myself, buy for Ludicrous Feed, the channel? And 49% of you said the BYD Seal Premium. That's number 1. And 37% said 2024 Model 3 rear-wheel drive, which is the Highland. And 12% said another EV. 161 people voted. So that's a pretty good sample size. So it's not a majority, but I think that's pretty good. Looks like people want me to review the Seal. All right. Let's definitely keep that in mind. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, gents. And I shall see you. Rahul, I'll see you next week. And Riz, I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye now.